Nobody's perfect.
Nobody is. And if you're saying, okay, I'm going to demand you change something about yourself, Mr. or Mrs. Avoidant, like, you can't be this way, you're actually confronting them with something they might feel quite ashamed of and haven't really dealt with themselves or thought about much. So I think in being accepting of it, you are kind of shedding away the first layer of that shame and are saying, okay, I see you're struggling with something, you have issues, and I see you. And that's it. Nothing beyond that even. And I might not like it. I might not even want to accept it, but okay, it is what it is. That's where, and I'm speaking from my own experience here, I was able to say, okay, I do feel ashamed about this problem. I do have these issues, and honestly, I don't even know what they are exactly and where they come from and all that. And that's where the productive dialogue starts. That's the beginning of the journey.
But it's a slippery slope, actually. And there is a very crucial point that a lot of people completely miss, which is...
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Attachment Diaries. I'm Gabriel.
I'm Carolina.
And today we're talking about being married to an avoidant and how to fix it. So let's start off maybe by fleshing it out a little bit, by painting a picture, what it's actually like to be married to an avoidant. There are quite a lot of typical characteristics we see. What would you say are some of the most common ones?
Well, before we even go into that, I feel the need to defend you a bit because I already sensed the incoming comments, like, oh, poor her. I wouldn't qualify you or us as being married, like me as being married to an avoidant. Today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So what we'll be talking about in this episode is more stories from other people. And I think
a lot of our coaching clients,
yes. And if anything, we're like living proof that you can overcome all these issues that everybody else is struggling with, or a lot of people are struggling with.
Right.
And I think the biggest problem of being married to an avoidant is the emotional isolation, feeling like your needs, your emotional needs, but also your pragmatic needs are secondary, that you have to walk on eggshells or that you have to sacrifice what you need. And the second thing is feeling replaceable, feeling unimportant, and this fear of being abandoned, like your partner will just walk out on you.
And that's sort of always looming over you, right? You just never know when that might suddenly happen, if it will happen.
Yeah.
And an avoidant partner might actually be threatening with that, whether it's just implied or actively saying, I'll leave, or, I can do better, or whatever the threat may be. And
or when you set a boundary or when you ask for something.
For something, right? That's often when the threat of leaving or separation comes.
Or just walking away and,
Yeah. It can be something milder. Yeah. So the not knowing where, not feeling stable is one thing, right? Not feeling secure, the uncertainty of the marriage with an avoidant. But there's also, what other key aspects do we see a lot of that we would say is like cliche of an avoidant marriage?
That one partner is exhausted, that they feel like they're putting in all the effort and doing everything. And this is especially true if you have kids, that the more anxious leaning partner is more inclined to take on more responsibilities. Meanwhile, the avoidant is a bit careless and just going about their day and focusing on themselves other than focusing on their responsibilities.
All right. So it's a bit like one is being a bit more an adult.
Yes.
Right. And it can be about finances. It can be about taking care of the kids, just general household things that need taken care of, where they feel abandoned by their avoidant partner that is just not stepping up the way they would need them to.
And I think what's also very true for women is that there's no room for our emotional needs. I mean, maybe for men as well. That when you need reassurance, or when you're upset, when you're sad, that your partner can't help you with that.
You try express something, an emotional need of some kind, and there's just no response or a stone wall
or judgment.
Yeah. Or walking away again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like an isolation of sorts, right? The experience of being married to an avoidant can be like, okay, I know that there are a lot of things that are not working for me. I feel emotionally isolated. I feel alone with the responsibilities and on, and yet kind of powerless to change it, no matter what I say, no matter what I do. And you're kind of turning in circles.
And you're trying and none of it is working.
Yeah.
So it's like you're together, but you're alone.
Right.
And you feel like your partner doesn't care.
Yeah. And, somebody in that situation, it makes sense they want to get out of that, right? That they want to fix it somehow. Yes. And if they're at their wit's end and they feel like they've tried everything already, then you have two options, right? You either continue chasing, hoping that this time, your avoidant partner will finally hear you and understand your needs and how alone you feel, and they'll change, or you leave. And I think what I'd like to discuss here with you today is the approach people take to try and change their avoidant partner, what doesn't work, definitely does not work, and also what needs to change, like the new approach you would need to try and make things work. In particular, let's maybe talk about the things that don't work, right? What we see a lot with our coaching clients, that I think the classic one is just straight up chasing, where somebody will, often an anxiously attached person, will chase their avoidant partner and almost like plead or beg, like, please change, you can do better. I know you are. I need you. Ask for what they want. And not to say there's anything wrong with expressing your needs that way.
Like,
right?
I need you to make more effort. I need you to be a bit more proactive.
Right.
I need you to fix the garden fence. I need you to drive the kids to school.
I'll get to that someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just repeatedly asking for things, and the avoidant being like, later, or and then not
dismissing,
doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Somehow not actually taking you seriously in a way. Yeah. I feel like it's also a big part of what the experience is, not feeling like taken seriously. So this kind of like chasing, asking, hoping they will, and what folds into that as well, I find, is trying to be endlessly understanding, forgiving, patient, coming their way,
self-sacrificial,
and saying, and like, I know you can do better, right? And like, I believe in you. You can step up. You can change.
We can do this. I believe in us. And this is worth fighting for, and we can fix this. Meanwhile, the avoidance, like, yeah, whatever.
Like,
let
tunnel
me just
vision
play games
somewhere else. Yeah, exactly.
Or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about the necessity of boundaries in relationships, as well as the kindness and the patience, right? The carrot and stick, if you will, that you need both, right? There are some people that are on the side of, I'm only about harsh boundaries, and I'm going to push you and insist and demand from you.
it often is a result of them self-sacrificing for years.
For years, yeah.
And then they jump to the other extreme.
Yeah. And the other is that, right?
Yeah.
The self-sacrificial.
Yeah.
I'm giving, I'm understanding, I'm patient.
I'm going to be quiet. I'll tolerate this.
Yeah. And give you the love you need that I believe will help you change, right? Treat others as though the way you want to be treated. And although that is true to some extent, I think the boundaries again are an essential component, and vice versa. So yeah, what do you think? Does that cover all the typical mistakes, do you think?
I think, yeah, it does. The mistakes are basically not speaking up. And then the second mistake is pushing for something, for the same thing repeatedly without evaluating whether it's working or not.
Right.
So two extreme versions. You want something, but you don't speak up, or you want something and you just repeat the same approach over and over again. And I think the problem lies elsewhere, right? There is a reason why you're in this dynamic with your partner to begin with. And the thing that is missing or the thing that can actually fix it is taking a step back and starting to evaluate, are my approaches working? Which approaches are working? Which approaches are not working?
Right. Yeah, to rethink it and not just blindly apply the same often formula that isn't working, right? That's not getting you results. I thought it's maybe also important to mention that when you have kids in the dynamic in this marriage, it also really complicates things a lot further, right? Because you have this added responsibility as a parent to take care of your kids. And if you feel alone with that, it's a whole different level of burden because it's a huge...
And it also keeps you bound to your partner.
Exactly. You're kind of trapped in a way.
Yeah. And there are also financial ties that come with it.
Exactly.
But I find the pragmatics still don't matter nearly as much as the emotional pain of separating yourself from someone that you've gone through a lot with.
Right.
So ultimately, our feelings matter as well. I mean, it's a complicated picture.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So these are the classic mistakes, right? In terms of solutions, you and I like to talk about the importance of acknowledging limits, how important it is to see your partner for who they are and not who you would like them to be, and just how difficult that is. So you and I went through this journey as well, of course.
Because we did have the anxious avoidant dynamic.
Right.
And that, I would say, also went past just commitment. Because in the early stages, the anxious avoidant dynamic is all about commitment. But once you have the commitment, the dynamic continues, right? And one is the chaser and the other one's the avoidant who pulls away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You may be in a long-term relationship, you may be married, but the avoidant anxious dynamic still unfolds, and hopefully in a healing manner, right? Where you're becoming less and less distant and closer. But what would you say was let's maybe define the limits a little bit, right? Like, what is an emotional limit? I think a way you explained it once that was quite well is thinking of it a bit as a mental disability, actually.
Yes.
So what examples are there that you can...
In the early stages, right? The typical avoidant limit is not knowing what they want. So, and it is like a crutch, not knowing whether they want commitment or not. And the anxious person often is in this frame of mind, like, oh, I just need you to decide.
Yeah.
And they literally can't decide.
Yeah. I don't know.
I am when I see two pairs of shoes.
Right.
And I can't make up my mind, right? Yeah. The same way an avoidant is like, I don't know what I want.
Yeah. they also suffer
Yeah.
fear of missing out, or they have their doubts. They can't strictly say, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, or I'm in or I'm out.
Yes. Yeah.
That's an avoidant limit.
Yeah.
Right.
And you had that limit.
Yeah.
And I just learned, I embraced it. I was like, okay, he's overthinking. Instead of seeing it as, I need you to be in or out, I saw it, okay, he's, overthinking, whatever. Much like I'm overthinking other things. Which
we've distilled to like it being doubt.
Yeah.
Right? Like self-doubt. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't.
It's like, okay. It's okay. I know.
It's for me.
Yeah.
It's whenever confronted with the question about like what we're doing here, what this is, long-term aspects of our relationship, it was just like a blank for me of sorts. And I think the reasons for that are pretty layered and profound. But the point is that was a limit for me. As in, I just did not have the capacity to give you what you needed, that security, that certainty. And the more you would try get that and force it or demand it, whatever it might be, it actually just escalated the doubt and the uncertainty to a point where what you'll often hear with avoidance is, well, I just can't give you what you want.
And that is true.
Yeah. We're not a good fit. We want different things and so on and so forth. So it wasn't until, like, my experience of it was when you started seeing that limit of mine and we're not fighting it and we're accepting me as having that flaw, that's when I was able to see it myself properly for the first time, right? Because generally what happens is an avoidant is confronted with this limit. It can be a different one, right? But just for example's sake, this limit, and they just go to get defensive, and they're just like, no, default to the typical excuses, and in some way, shape, or form withdraw, want space, abandon, whatever it might be. Versus if you give them the chance to see for themselves, like if you are able to see their limit and say, oh, I chose to be with a person that cannot choose me.
Openly.
Or openly.
Cannot admit that they are choosing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the reality of what I chose, this person, right? And sit with that, not try fix it, not try change it, not fight it. That's
evaluate. Is it good enough or not? And if it is, you live with it.
And if it's not,
then you stop chasing someone who can't give you what you need.
Right. But what I was leading up to is that's what helped me see it for the first time for myself and say, oh, I have this problem. I am doubtful. I am, what gives? Like, what is this even? Where is it coming from? And I was able to then, with enough trust building, talk to you about it and say, okay, like I do have a problem. Because people ask a lot in our emails and comments, and our students are like, how did Gabriel get over it? How did he, this is a huge part of it, that you were like, okay, he has this limit. And then I was able to slowly talk about it and explore it with you.
Start working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this like doubt of how you actually feel about me, right? Like this doubt how you actually feel about your partner. That's like one of the typical avoidant limits.
Yeah.
Another typical avoidant limit would be feeling controlled easily.
Yeah.
And that was also something that I embraced. I was like, okay, he's hypersensitive and accuses me of being controlling. Whatever, I'm not going to take it personally. I'll just roll with it. And I'll be like, okay, what am I controlling about? And that also provided space for you to actually vent and get over it.
Yeah.
And then I could express my needs or desires, and then they wouldn't trigger you. And you wouldn't accuse me of being controlling then because you got over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In time, admittedly, right? It wasn't a one-off conversation.
It never is.
Right. But the point being, in you seeing and accepting my limits, right? That, okay, this is how Gabriel is. He's strange this way. He has issues. That's when I was able to say, I guess I do. Because otherwise I'm just always on defense, right? I'm just always denying, justifying, diminishing, abandoning. And the issue never even gets addressed. So most people, I find, the clients I've worked with, whether their starting point is, this isn't even being, like, there is no productive conversation even starting. It's just, they try bring it up, it gets shut down. They try bring it up, it gets shut down over and over again.
The anxious person, they try bring it up, and avoidant just dismisses.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So the acceptance and acknowledgement, I think, play a huge
boundaries
part.
and bringing it up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because sometimes, I think for both of us, we had to be strict with each other and call each other out. And I think it'd be fair to talk about some of my limits, right? Just so that you're not the only broken one in this relationship. I'm not the only broken.
Well, that's wonderful. We like to share the responsibility here, right?
I think everybody blames avoidance, and one of avoidant limits is that they're quick to admit blame. And so everyone scapegoats them. Mm-hmm. And they're also quick to be like, yeah, I'm the problem. Whatever. I guess I just, I deserve to be abandoned or whatever. You leave, you go.
Yeah, they accept their fate.
They accept they don't fight it.
Yeah.
Which is also something that when you're married to an avoidant, you have to contend with, that you're going to be the one fighting for things. Yeah, that's also a limit.
Yeah. But you were mentioning your own limits here too, right? And I think this is a second part of the puzzle that is so important in fixing an avoidant marriage, that you look at yourself in the mirror and say, there are probably limits I have too that are contributing to this. If you dump everything on an avoidance doorstep, or say they are the issue because they're avoidant and that's the bottom line, and if only they were fixed and different, it'd be fine, you're going to lose this battle. So for example, the struggle I had with you for a long time was not that you weren't able to confidently, openly express how you felt about something, and were more closed off, shy, one might say. So I didn't know where you were at. And that made me really anxious, actually.
And you were also complaining about it over and over again.
Yeah. And insisting that you were different, right? If only you were more expressive, if only you verbalized your feelings, if only this, that, and the other, then we wouldn't have this issue. So I wasn't willing to see your limits either. And that kept me in this endless loop of frustration and unmet needs, where I was just like, this can't work. Like, if this is never going to change, right? And in the same way, it wasn't until I was like, okay, I guess this just is Carolina. This is who. And it's not to say when you accept someone's limits that you don't care, or that's the bottom line, but it's the first step.
It's what allows them to change.
Yes. It's
as long as you're not willing to see them for who they are, and you keep insisting that they're better, they're just going to keep on fighting you.
Yeah.
And being defensive.
Right. Exactly.
But when you see your partner for who they are, with their flaws, and you embrace that, and you're like, I don't need you to be perfect.
Yeah.
I love you the way you are. That's when they will dare to open up and be vulnerable and start talking.
Yeah.
And start trusting you and start working on some of these issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very much tied to shame, because we all have our issues, whether we like it or not.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody is. And if you're saying, okay, I'm going to demand you change something about yourself, Mr. or Mrs. Avoidant, like, you can't be this way. you're actually confronting them with something they might feel quite ashamed of and haven't really dealt with themselves or thought about much. So I think in being accepting of it, you are kind of shedding away the first layer of that shame and are saying, okay, I see you're struggling with something, you have issues, and I see you. And that's it. Nothing beyond that even. And I might not like it. I might not even want to accept it, but okay, it is what it is. That's where, and I'm speaking from my own experience here, I was able to say, okay, I do feel ashamed about this problem. I do have these issues. And honestly, I don't even know what they are exactly and where they come from and all that. And that's where the productive dialogue starts. That's the beginning of the journey.
But it's a slippery slope, actually. And there is a very crucial point that a lot of people completely miss, which is they see the avoidance issues, but they're not willing to admit their own emotional investment in these issues.
Right.
And then they go like, oh, you had a hard childhood. Oh, you have this fear, or, oh, you're overwhelmed. And then they go into this love bombing mode where
like
I believe in you.
Yeah, like parental.
Yes. And I think this is maybe also something that people do in general, even among friends. If you're struggling with something, everybody tells you, you can do this. When they should be telling you, oh, actually, you expressing these feelings makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. Because it turns out I have similar feelings.
Issues.
So I have a hard time talking about this.
Right. It's like this toxic positivity in a way.
Yes. Yeah. And that is often total roadblock in avoidant healing.
Yeah.
Because when avoidants express their limits, their anxious spouse will jump into the toxic positivity, reassurance, I believe in you.
Yeah.
When they should be saying, I am so disappointed.
Right.
I thought you were better than this.
Yeah. This is such an important point because you and I went through this.
Yes.
We were like,
we both went through this. I remember there were times you were so judgmental towards me. You were so disappointed. Like, oh, you're an introvert.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't believe
it's not just seeing it and accepting it. It's seeing it and being disappointed, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, you can't be. How dare you be this? And that frustration and having room for yourself to also have and express that disappointment. And because I think what ties into that as well is a bit like, why did I choose this? You know? Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. Was this a mistake? And then that's when the true acceptance, I think, comes in, right?
It has to be an honest dialogue.
Yeah.
On both sides.
No matter what, honey, I'm here. Yeah. And
I'm patient. I'm there for
you. Through thick and thin.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I need you to be better than this, or
but instead to just express your frustration as well.
Yes.
And your disappointment and pain.
Yeah.
It's a balance, right?
It's a balance. Yeah.
You can't do either extreme. And I remember we would have like days, like when I discovered one of your limits, I was just so disappointed. I don't remember which one it was exactly. It might have even have been this emotional expression thing. For days, I was just like broody and just grumpy and like, how can you be this way? And giving you like that kind of, but we worked through it, you know, and I felt like this is so unfair. I've been open and honest about being this way for 10 years. Exactly. And now he's giving me judgment. Yeah, exactly. You've been telling me the whole time, actually, right? I wasn't willing to accept it. Right. So in a marriage, if you're with an avoidant and you see these patterns over and over again, where it becomes this cliche, right? Where there are things like, oh, they won't take out the trash, or I've been asking for help for this matter since forever and they just won't do it. But people kind of get locked in those patterns and those cliches, almost like in extreme cases, it's a bit like there's a kind of comfort in it. When you see very elderly couples fight, they have this routine that they go through. They ask for the thing, and then there's this pushback, and then, oh, you're always this way, and of course, and blah, 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 Mr. So-and-so. Rather than stopping and saying, okay, we've done this literally hundreds, if not thousands of times. How do we change it? What do we do differently? And
I find with elderly couples, they're actually often embracing these limits.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes them endearing. That's when they are endearing. That their fight is not a fight. It's almost like the game they're playing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Some are like this, some are like that. Some are serious. And others are like, here
he goes again.
Here he goes again.
Right.
And it's playful. And it's the same thing. I think when you're able to be playful about these things, it means you're seeing your partner for who they are, you're accepting them the way they are, and you're expressing your frustrations.
Mm.
But it's not so serious.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean anything about your relationship.
Yeah. So it's the next step, but people can also get tied up in that and just cycle in that.
Yes.
Even if it is playful, they're not actually moving past the shame or getting to it, should I say, where they're like, okay, you're right, honey. I have this problem.
Yeah. They just embrace it. And
that's just how they are. And these are our roles now. And this is our marriage until the end of time.
And of course, when you have kids in the mix on top of this, right? And you're parenting, and then you're fighting about your different parenting styles, or that one person is more involved than the other. It's extremely complicated. Relationships are extremely complicated.
Yeah.
And trying to make sense of it and put labels on everything can be helpful, but it also can just complicate things further, because then you're stuck in these labels. But the healing starts when there's dialogue.
Right.
When you're actually getting through to each other, and when you're both being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think with the limits, another point that is...
well, you were talking about communication at one point, right?
Yes, this is also a very common limit that I would say anxious people have, that they can't communicate. And for me, I think one of these things was you wanted me to communicate more proactively and not just bottle things in and then explode.
Yeah.
But maybe avoidants are the same. I don't know. That you bottle things in until you explode, and then you communicate it in not so great ways. That is also a limit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it can be, also just this withdrawal into the shadows and into their man caves or whatever the equivalent might be for the ladies. But this aspect of expressing your needs, of being more communicative, this aspect of communicating your needs and being more transparent about where you're at is especially true for anxious people in this dynamic, because they might be more in that sacrificial, endlessly giving headspace, right?
Positivity and love, and never saying, hey, I'm actually pissed at you, or I'm accumulating resentment. Yeah.
And if it's over the course of a long-term marriage, let's say you're, 10, 20 years in, and you've been in this role for that long, that also takes a toll on you mentally, emotionally, your health. I have clients that suffer so many physical problems because all this emotion is bottled up and not expressed and not addressed. And they're just constantly confronted with the rejection and the abandonment or the threat thereof from their avoidant partner. But if you're stuck in that, you need a new approach. you need to tackle it differently. You can't keep hoping that the same strategy is going to fix it. And what's really important in that too is to really not fall into either extreme. People tend to have this awakening where they're like, okay, I'm dealing with an avoidant here, and all of this has been unjustified, and I don't like it, and I'm out, or I'm going to go to the other end and start being pushy and punishing and rejecting. You need both.
Or
right?
start being their therapist.
Yeah. You need moderation. Like you can't, neither extreme is good. We're big proponents of moderation. You need the carrot and the stick. You can't just be loving and just have boundaries.
And you can't be endlessly angry. And I mean, if you are, you have to talk about yourself and your own resentment. If you're so disappointed and angry with your avoidant, you should admit it instead of demonizing them.
Right.
You should say, I'm furious because I felt neglected for the last 15 years.
Right.
And the looking at you makes me angry.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of being like, you're an avoidant.
Yeah. That doesn't tell them anything either.
No, it doesn't. It's not productive.
Yeah. And I think if you, in the same way, if you focus on trying to get your avoidant partner to admit that they're avoidant, if that's your focus, I think it's also problematic because you're again trying to, you're making this a fixing project where you're saying, oh, they're an avoidant, they struggle, they have these problems, and I need to be the person that comes and saves them, essentially, and addresses all these problems. And in reality, what would be a lot more productive is to say, okay, where am I not communicating my needs? Where am I not being transparent?
We're a team, and our team is not functioning.
Yes.
Why is our team not functioning?
Right.
And our team is 2 members, right?
Yeah. Not just
not
one.
Not just one. And it's not just one member of the team who breaks everything.
Yeah. Both break it in different ways. And it's such an important message we want to emphasize, that as long as you are not thinking as a team and relating to your partner and yourself as having things to work through, it's a losing game. And we're saying this from experience, right? Like I've been there where I've believed you're the problem.
And I believed you're the problem.
Yeah. Like you,
meanwhile, we're the problem.
Yeah. If only you did this and that differently, if only, right? And ultimately that never worked because you're just playing defense on both sides. Well, if only you, and if only, right? It just goes back and forth like endless tennis. And
yes. So I think an important point in the whole marriage to an avoidant is for the partner, the other partner, to learn to impose, but to impose in productive ways, not by chasing and being like, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. But sometimes it means just literally barging into the room and being like, enough self-isolation.
Right.
I need attention. When I started approaching you this way, I'd be like, attention, like a kid would be.
Yeah.
You would laugh. You wouldn't be defensive.
Right. It was cute.
It was cute. Yeah. Yeah. And I think being stuck, sacrificing and waiting for your partner to heal and hoping that if you're understanding, if you're patient, that will make them heal. That's what builds the resentment in an anxious avoidant marriage.
Yeah.
That because you can wait till the end of time, nothing will happen.
Yeah.
And then knowing how to impose. I think that was like a lesson for me, right? That was a very valuable lesson that took a couple of tests. How do I impose so that I do get what I want, actually? And that is also how to take charge, in the relationship in like a productive way, not in a negative way. I think maybe it's different with men and women, right? But like, I think one of the typical things is that men have no space for feelings.
Yeah.
They judge feelings, right? You're overreacting.
Yeah,
What are you
you're
talking
emotional.
about? Yeah. Stop being so unreasonable.
You're riding the crimson wave, whatever.
And you know, sometimes I am. And then everything is just amplified. Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do know better, you know, or sometimes you are justified and you just have to impose your point of view onto your partner.
Yeah.
And not accept the box that they're putting you in, but fight back and being like, I'm not the victim here. You're being unreasonable. You're being a jerk. Yeah. You're being inconsiderate. And you're full of shit, frankly.
Right. You need to challenge them.
Yes, because the whole argument with men and women and emotions, right, is that only women are emotional.
Oh, men are equally emotional.
They are.
It's just, you know, what
they just like go to their hidey hole.
Yeah, they're like broody.
Yes.
They will like be silently angry. Like, you know, they're the ones that shout.
Yeah.
Right. But they'll be very emotional, just not expressive about it often. So it's not like I'm going to share where I'm at and cry, and especially the crying, of course. That's a big taboo still in this day and age, which is kind of absurd. Men have feelings like equally, you know, and suffer. And I think just to any guys listening, you know, like it's okay. Crying is okay. Having feelings is okay. It's perfectly natural. And it helps the relationship along so much. And when we're accusing the women we're with, right, of being overreactive and emotional, and that's just messaging we got as young boys, that you have to man up and stop being such a crybaby. Stop being a girl. Like what? That's the cliche of a phrase.
And
it doesn't change that they feel it, right?
Yeah, yeah. And doesn't change that they're being emotional.
Yeah, very. It just comes out sideways.
Yeah, they just express it differently.
Yeah.
They bottle it in more.
Yeah.
And to make it fair, because we brought up this example of men dismissing feelings, which I think is so common, I find women have their own way of dismissing feelings. And that is that they feel morally entitled or superior. And they like write this like, I can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Bandwagon.
Yeah.
And that was something you had to hammer in with me.
I had to challenge you on that.
Yes. Yeah. And you had to be like, this is destroying our relationship. The fact that you're not willing to admit mistakes.
Yeah. That you're wrong.
Yeah. And I think this is where maybe that's the female trauma more. Where as a little girl, you were judged for making mistakes, or you're supposed to be perfect.
Right.
You're supposed to be flawless and have it all together, right? So this is my counter message to all the women, right? Like, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah.
It's okay to admit fault.
Right.
To be to blame for things.
You won't be damned to eternal hell for making a mistake.
You won't be punished. No.
Yeah. Because the stakes feel so high, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
On both ends.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I would say, in terms of, to summarize, right, in terms of if you are in a marriage with an avoidant, what's really important is that you first stop whatever it is you're doing. You take account, you look at, what have I tried so far, and has it worked? And chances are, if you're listening to this, it has not worked. So what do I need to do differently? A is really look at your partner's limits and do your level best to see and accept them as such. Don't try change. Don't
idealize them.
Don't idealize them. It's a good way of putting it too. Take them off their pedestal. They're Human,
whether they're a man or a woman.
Woman, doesn't matter.
They're not who you thought they were.
Yeah. Go through your disappointment.
Yeah.
Express it.
Be honest.
Be honest.
You're not my hero. I'm not your hero.
Yeah.
We all have our healing fantasy, right? That we meet our true love and then
it's all going to magically...
it's going to fix all our emotional problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally allow the acknowledgement to make room for the shame or whatever is burying those behaviors that are ruining your relationship, and talk about it, work through it. Everybody will have their own story, their own journey, and you have to be a team about this and go through your own process of the same.
Don't be invisible. Don't make yourself secondary.
Right. And with that, you'll, work towards a much more, not necessarily even happier or healthier relationship, but you'll feel like the valve, the pressure, everything you're compartmentalizing and bottling up will start to come out slowly. It's like opening a small vent somewhere. And that really can already be a huge relief for people that have just been containing this for years and years on end on their marriage. You gotta let it out. And starting this process can really help that.
Yeah, letting it out is one thing, but also daring to rock the boat.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is often. You don't dare to rock the boat.
Right.
And you're walking on eggshells and you're putting the avoidant on a pedestal. And then you end up having an unequal relationship.
Yeah.
When you are an equal partner.
Right.
Even if they are financially, for example, more empowered, let's say, like if they are the breadwinner, I do find that also tends to create unequal relationships. However, everybody's so invested. Like, right, we had very rich clients who still suffer tremendously because of their emotional problems.
Yes.
I would say like our emotional health and our emotional well-being is the most valuable currency that has the biggest impact on our happiness. And you as a partner, you're their asset.
Right.
They have an investment in maintaining you and keeping you. So you have more power than you think. And you also have more power than avoidants are willing to admit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
They care.
Yeah.
They care a lot more.
People are more attached than they would like to admit to themselves or to their partner.
Yeah.
We are way more attached to each other.
And because of this, there is room for you to push.
Yeah.
And there's room for you to make mistakes.
Rock the boat.
Rock the boat. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
On this positive note.
Yeah. We hope that this has given you some good tips, some information, some insight if you're married to an avoidant, how to address it, how to go about it differently. And if you're interested in this type of content, please be sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening to this as a podcast version, give it a like, rate us, let us know what you'd like us to cover next. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.